Heat. This is Point Black. Coming in hard and off the car. Coming with the flow. Straight from the barrio. And coming with the heat to the damn street. This is PBNN, Point Black National News. The late and the great edition. And the ghetto edition as well. Because this is what we must do. We're coming with the facts, the crack backs, and the boom bip. To what? A lion ass lips. Now, that's a fact at Point Black. You know what I'm saying? As we look at today's situation and many of the things that are going on in the world in which we live, which is highly important that we recognize in all ways, at all times, these things. So we know that, we've got a lot of work to do. But in this matter, today, we're coming with the facts, the crack backs, and the boom bip to the line ass lips. This is PBNN, Point Black, National News, the late and the great edition and the ghetto edition as well. Because this is what we must do in all ways. You know what I'm saying? In all ways. It's highly important that we understand this now. But today, we have this gentleman here. He's a real trailblazer, and I think that a lot of people should really subscribe to his channel, and blow his situation up in many ways because, what I'm saying, he is a trailblazer in the information that people needs to hear that comes from what we call prominent people's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Not just the mouth of us spewing on YouTube, but actually, the videotapes, the conversations, and the things that were said based on that. You know what I'm saying? Based on that. That's highly important. Excuse me a minute. It's highly important that we understand that we have that trailblazing understanding in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? We need that. We need that trailblazing understanding. You know what I'm saying? I gotta one day work on my studio a little more. You know what I'm saying? But we need that. You know what I'm saying? So today I have on my, original, sheriff hat right here. You know what I'm saying? John Sheriff, Point Black. You know what I'm saying? And we on the blaze today on the trail. You know what I'm saying? We riding out. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of work to do and we riding out. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no time for us to be playing around. You know what I'm saying? We've got to be riding out. You know what I'm saying? And we need all hands on deck. You know what I'm saying? All who can sling. You know what I'm saying? We need all those to be watching. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't need in your hand, all the time, to disrespect the town by bringing the guns in the town. We have to start looking at a different type of gun when it comes to the political arena. And this guy right here definitely got on his two slingers. You know what I'm saying? He got a double slinger. The two gun kid, you know what I'm saying? He got the two, and he bringing that information just the way it's supposed to be brought. You know what I'm saying? He's slinging right. You know what I'm saying? He ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? Now, one of the things he just showed me is this, and I knew about this. You know what I'm saying? But people need to hear it from him because he's bringing that heat. You know what I'm saying? And this is his joint, you know what I'm saying, that he's bringing out. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. You know what I mean? I think his name is Doc Rich or something like that. I think that's his channel, if I'm not mistaken. But in this video here, where, they, want to make sure that nobody gets this joint, in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. They want to make sure nobody gets that joint. You know what I mean? But it's okay because, we see a lot of shit going on. You know what I mean? We see a lot of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Even right here, we see this one right here, I think it is. Oh, here it is. So we're going to take a listen today at one of his joints because we're going to do what we call a little YouTube in the day. You know what I'm saying? Today is a little YouTube in day where we going to listen to a lot of stuff that is out there, that's being put out there by different brothers and sisters out there doing the good work, such as this brother here. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew about this. And one of the guys that is speaking in this, I'm going to tell you who all is in it. You know what I'm saying? As we can see, you know what I'm saying, is Obama. We got Obama on there. We got Obama on the panel here. We got Harry Belafonte. We got Hillary Clinton up there. You know what I'm saying? Looking like Hillary Jackass. You know what I'm saying? And she's up there, and they're speaking to Harry Belafonte, and you should see the look on Obama's face. He looked like a little stepchild. You know what I'm saying? Looking at Harry Belafonte. But we're going to let this brother here kind of like bring it in for y'all in more ways than one. So you can hear Harry Belafonte, one of the greatest artists as well. You know what I'm saying? At times I had a little, and certain things I didn't like because they were using that, you know what I'm saying, every time they tried to stereotype the West Indies. You know what I'm saying? Like, stupid shit about put lime in the coconut, go back on the banana boat and all type of dumbass shit. You know what I'm saying? But they Africans and American, calling themselves an American, but they're African, thinking that they them and not has anything to do with us, not knowing that some of the first slaves that came to the transatlantic so-called slave trade came through the West Indies first. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of your ancestors are still spread across the West Indies in all ways. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, we're going to let this brother right here, and I want you to listen carefully to what Harry Belafonte is saying to Hillary Clinton, Obama dumbass, and others. So without further ado, you know what I'm saying, let's get into it.
Listen, the last thing Dr. King said to me before he was murdered. He's talking about Democrats. He said, I sit here deeply concerned that I suspect we're leading our nation on an integration trip that has us integrating into a burning house. Ooh, Democrats. Most of the politicians I know of make promises only to walk into the places of power and then deny us. Wait for it.
Look at Hillary Clinton.
The reason I'm here is to really look through the ravages of the Democratic Party and see if anything is really worth salvaging.
Oh, so even MLK would be a Republican today.
You should see Hillary Clinton face and Obama face. They look like stepchildren. They look like little stepchildren trying to hang on to, you know what I'm saying, some kind of prestige while they're sitting there. But he got them schooling them looking like a little boy. You know what I'm saying? Let's play this again from the top and let this brother drop the heat. I love it.
Listen, the last thing Dr. King said to me before he was murdered.
He's talking about Democrats.
He said, I sit here deeply concerned that I suspect we're leading our nation on an integration trip that has us integrating into a burning house.
Ooh,
that's Harry Belafonte.
Democrats.
Most of the politicians I know of make promises only to walk into the places of power and then deny us.
Wait for it.
I guess part of the reason I'm here is to really look through the ravages of the Democratic Party and see if anything is really worth salvaging.
Oh, so even MLK would be a Republican today.
You see? That brother be putting the smoke on him. He be putting the smoke on him. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Like this one here he just dropped. Let's check this one out. Let's see what we got here with. Let's see what we got here with this. You know what I'm saying? But he be dropping them though. I be loving it.
From a YouTube channel called More Perfect Union. Shout out to them. That's where this clip came from. But they did something pretty interesting that I want to discuss with you guys. But before we hop into
Doc
that,
Rich is his name. Doc Rich. Look him up.
Subscribe button if you are
hit the
new.
subscribe
if
button.
If you'd like to help me out even further with this YouTube algorithm, to get this message out to more folks. Watch this video to the very end. It helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it.
Right.
With that being said, let's dive in.
Extreme socialism, obviously, we'll all agree, communism doesn't work.
Yeah.
But extreme capitalism, as we're seeing right now,
Does not
with
work.
this corporate capitalism, also has its problems.
How much money is too much money for one person?
It's a tough call. I know. When they have these billions, you're like, well, they really don't need it. Yeah, we agree with that.
Why Trump instead of Bernie?
As the great Thomas Sowell once said, there are no solutions. There's only trade-offs. I remember checking out that video, and it really hit me because I sat back and I really thought about it, and I was like, wow, that's actually true. There's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. Answers that guy's question.
What I look at is more progressives
statement.
like the Bernie Sanders faction, stuff like that. We actually see a lot of the same problems.
I would vote for a Bernie Sanders before I'd vote for like a Ted Cruz or a Marco Rubio.
What would it have taken for you guys to not go into the rally and to instead get ice cream with me, a flaming leftist?
Well, first of all, you
I'd
have
be
to
happy.
buy.
All right, I'm buying. We are polarized. There is no doubt about it. But I came to this Trump rally on a hunch. I've poured drinks at a Rust Belt dive bar for the last year, and when your county votes for Trump and the bartender looks like I do, people kind of assume that you're on the same page. But sometimes you actually are. So here's my hunch. For all the focus on culture war issues, the working class on the left and the right have a lot more in common than we're led to believe. And if that's true, it could and should have huge implications for the upcoming presidential election. So I went to Erie, Pennsylvania to find out. Are we rolling? Okay. We're here at the Trump rally.
I do believe that is true for the most part. And I dropped a YouTube short on it from, I believe his name was Bryson. But he said something along the lines of it, I'm paraphrasing here. He said this division is fake. It's only in the media. Because when you go out in the real world, you'll have different groups of people all mingling, all at once. There's no fights constantly breaking out and people, getting bonked on the head and, this and that, right? I'm just saying. And when you actually sit down and talk to most folks, of course there's outliers, but when you sit down and talk to most folks, you actually realize, oh, yeah, we actually do have a lot in common. We actually do kind of want the same things. Or if not the same, they're very, very similar. Very, very close. But of course, I feel as if the media and the elites don't want that unity to happen. Because if we all come together, that in turn, in a way, spells doom for them, in my humble opinion. But what do y'all think? Let me know. Let's continue.
Today, why did you come out today?
To support my 45th president. He called out the Washington
Allegedly, of
establishment.
course.
And I absolutely loved it. He's definitely not a Republican because Mitch McConnell and them would be backing him and DeSantis would be running against him. Obviously not a Democrat no more, so we're more of a politically homeless faction that loves America and will make all the changes that we can to make it great. Prices are just higher. Like, you go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
I buy the same thing every time I go to the grocery store. I spend $102 at Aldi's. I was just telling my uncle this.
Yeah.
I'm spending over $200 now.
Yeah.
So things are more expensive. I think people are more scared.
Our money doesn't have no value, and that's why
I was literally just talking about that. When was that? Last week before last with you guys? I was like, man, grocery store prices have gotten insane. I remember $100 to get you a carton of groceries, a basket of groceries.
Now, you see, in the manner in which he's speaking about is real good. And I respect that in all ways because this brother right here is definitely what I call a trailblazer when it comes to many of these issues, and he's right on top of it. You know what I'm saying? He's right on top of it. He can give you the video, he can give you the facts, he can give you all that in one shot. You know what I'm saying? When you really look at it. You know what I'm saying? And this is what black people should be doing. You know what I'm saying? This is what black people should be doing. You should be showing both sides of the stick. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. He even shows stuff to go on with the with Donald J. Trump as well when they're accusing Donald Trump. He don't hold that back. He don't hold that back. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's very crazy. You know what I'm saying? Even in this one here, you know what I'm saying? In this one here, I think he's saying, ladies and gentlemen, we got him, Biden, wrapped or whatever. I guess, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what he's saying on that one. Let's comment on that. Let's comment on that and see what we got. You know what I mean? Let's see what we got. You know what I'm saying? Because this brother is definitely a trailblazer. You know what I'm saying? And people need to check out, you know, my man Doc. You know, Doc Rich. You know, hit that like button on his joint, and also hit him up.
Then Vice President Joe Biden used in several email exchanges. Welcome back. So do you know who Robert L. Peters is? How about Robin Ware or JRB Ware? These are the known fake names that then Vice President Joe Biden used in several email exchanges. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is now demanding to see those emails. They are unredacted emails. He wants them released from the National Archives involving these pseudonyms, in addition to any interactions between Joe and Hunter with Ukraine and Burisma officials. This says some House Republicans are pushing for an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. GOP Florida Congressman Greg Steube has already moved forward with his own articles of impeachment, calling the Biden family's business deals treasonous activity. Joining me right now is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. And Mr. Majority Leader, it's great to have you this weekend. Thanks so much for being here this weekend.
Yeah, it's always great to be with you, Maria. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to know about these alias names of Joe Biden. What can you tell us about it? Was he using different names to conceal money moving into these 20 shell companies that were set up while he was vice president that we've heard about from the House Oversight Committee chairman?
Well, Maria, lots unknown on this still. You know, it was Jamie Comer's Oversight Committee that just uncovered it. We've been sending a lot of letters to a lot of agencies to get information. We've had whistleblowers, of course, come forward with some real bombshells that have created more stirs and actually caused the White House to change their tune on things. Remember, you know, in the early days for months, Karine Jean-Pierre said, oh, no, Joe never talked about business with Hunter, never. And she said it over and over and over again until we had whistleblowers come forward and said, not only did he talk business with Hunter, he went to dinners and lunches and coffees with the business people that he was dealing with, and including foreign governments. And then the next day,
you know, it's funny how that works, because we've all heard them do the same thing when it comes to stuff, right? where they start off somewhere, but then over time they move the goalposts. They move it slowly but surely. Oh no, Joe Biden has nothing to do with it. He had no clue. Oh no, not at all. Oh well, yeah, they might have had a conversation, but you know, he didn't go into depth with it and blah blah blah. He didn't know the ins and outs. Oh well, yeah, he did actually have. You know, they just move it. It's funny how that happens, how that works. But then Republicans are always considered, you know, the liars and cheaters and stealers and whatever else, you know, the left likes to say. But of course, you know, the left always accuses the right of what the left is actually doing or is planning on doing. It's one thing I've learned throughout this journey. Let's continue.
Mysteriously, the White House changed their tune and said, well, he wasn't in business. And so I think you're going to sit on the pseudonym. Why would a president of the United States, or in this case, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, have fake names that he was using on his documents? We've uncovered this just recently, going through some of our back and forth with the National Archives. And again, Comer's committee has been digging to get this information. Now that we have it, and I think they've deliberately set it up to make it harder for you, me, the media, the Congress to find out any of this information. Well, we're now finding it out. And as we find it out, we're going to go back and look under more pseudonyms, look under this pseudonym. But it begs the question, why did Joe Biden use fake names? We know he used fake companies. All the shell corporations, a shell corporation is a fancy term for a fake corporation. And he was using dozens of them to hide over $20 million of payments to his family. Not just Hunter Biden, his whole family. So there's a lot of dirty smelling corruption around all of this. And we're going to keep digging. We've got the Attorney General coming before Jim Jordan's committee on September 20th. And I think a lot of people are going to be interested in what he has to say. We have subpoenas out to a number of other FBI agents, but we still have more whistleblowers coming forward, Maria. And they're the ones that have really given us the true background, because as we're hearing one side of a story from some of these federal agencies, the whistleblowers are telling us a different tune. And then when we get people under oath and we confront them with what the whistleblower said, they change their tune. Everybody's changing their story. The White House is. Some of these federal agencies are. You know who's not changing their story? The whistleblowers, Maria.
Where is the
truth?
Wow. Even when we look at this one coming in here by, I think, Boardwalk coming in, we're going to check out this one and see what we got here on this mass. Because this is what happens when you don't see the grassroots of the land in which you live on, but you only see the races and the destruction that was brought upon it. You know what I'm saying? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. You know what I'm saying? Let's check it out.
No.
None of the three occurred.
Nonsense is in store for today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know you're going to ask a really nice question.
Well, it's an important question, I think. Are you worried that other leaders in the world are going to start to doubt that America is back if some of these big things that you say on the world stage keep getting walked back?
But what's getting walked back?
So wait a minute.
It made it sound like, just in the last couple days, it sounded like you told U.S. troops they were going to Ukraine. It sounded like you said it was possible the U.S. would use a chemical weapon. And it sounded like you were calling for regime change in Russia, and we know...
None of the three occurred.
What?
None of the three occurred?
None of the three.
Mr. President?
You interpret the language that way. I was talking to the troops. We were talking about helping train the troops that are the Ukrainian troops that are in Poland. That's what the context. I sat there with those guys for a couple hours. That's what we talked about.
So when you said you're going to see when you're there, you were not intending to...
I was referring to being with and talking with the Ukrainian troops who are in Poland.
See how we're trying to cover it up?
You said a chemical weapon use by Russia would trigger a response in kind.
It will trigger a significant response.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to tell you.
What?
Why would I tell you? You got to be silly.
The world wants to know?
The world wants to know a lot of things. I'm not telling them what the response would be. Then Russia knows the response.
So wait a minute. Wait.
All right, I'm going to take two more questions. 1, 2.
Mr. President, thank you. I still want to get back to your original words that he cannot remain in power. Can you help us understand? You have more foreign policy experience than any president who's ever held this office. Whether those are your personal feelings or your feelings as president, do you understand why people would believe you, as someone commanding one of the largest nuclear arsenals in the world, saying someone cannot remain in power is a statement of U.S. policy? And also, are you concerned about propaganda use of those remarks by the Russians?
No and no.
Tell me why. You have so much experience. You are the leader of this country.
Because it's ridiculous. Nobody believes we're going to take down. I was talking about taking down Putin. Nobody believes that. Number one. Number two, what have I been talking about since this all began? The only war that's worse than one intended is one that's unintended.
Mm-hmm. Get it? Did you hear that?
The last thing I want to do is engage in a land war or a nuclear war with Russia. That's not part of it. I was expressing my outrage at the behavior of this man. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
So who you is, his daddy?
It's more an aspiration than anything. He shouldn't be in power. There's no, people like this shouldn't be ruling countries, but they do. In fact, they do, but like you can't express my outrage about it.
Like creepy Joe Biden.
Last question.
Thank you.
You shouldn't be in power.
You're confident that your comment won't undermine diplomatic efforts. But just to be clear, are you confident that Vladimir Putin sees it that way, that he will not use this as an escalatory...
I don't care what he thinks.
Okay.
Look, here's the deal. He's going to do what he's going to do. Putin, look.
But you're not concerned that he may see your language and view that as a sign of a reason for escalation, use that as an excuse to escalate, given his recent behavior?
Stop it. Given his recent behavior, you should... Excuse me, I shouldn't say that to you. Given his recent behavior, people should understand that he is going to do what he thinks he should do, period. He's not affected by anybody else, including, unfortunately, apparently his own advisors.
Well, duh.
This is a guy who goes to the beat of his own drummer. And the idea that he is going to do something outrageous because I called him for what he was and what he's doing, I think is just not rational.
Okay.
You didn't say would you meet him again. Would you meet President Putin ever again?
It depends. No, it's not a question. The question is there something to meet on that would justify him being able to end this war and be able to rebuild Ukraine? That's the issue.
Sorry, say yes or no, Mr. President, whether or not you would be willing to meet with President Putin.
It depends on what he wants to talk about.
Thank you. Hey,
what if you wanted to talk about negotiations now? What if you wanted to...
You said Supreme Court. I don't play.
Well, can't leave that hanging. Just real quick, two matters on the Supreme Court. While you were away, there were reports about the wife of Justice Thomas and texts that she had with former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Should Justice Thomas recuse himself from any cases involving the January 6th insurrection or former President Trump at this point?
I leave that to two entities.
What? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Ask the second question.
No, two entities. Go ahead. Sorry.
One, the January 6th committee, and two, the Justice Department. That's their judgment, not mine to make.
So, on Justice Thomas recusing,
lying?
You don't think he should, or
I'm not
lying on every corner he can?
You, those things get into legal issues.
And judge.
In fact, I told you I would not tell the Justice Department what
lying
position to
the
take or not
whole
take.
entire time.
I'm not going to instruct the Congress either.
He is lying.
And did you get any chance to watch much of the Judiciary Committee hearings?
I didn't get a chance to see any of it.
The fact that Republicans were questioning Judge Jackson on matters like former sentences related to child pornography cases or the definition of a woman. Does that, as the former chairman of the Judiciary Committee, make sense to you?
Look, this is one of the most qualified nominees ever nominated for the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
In every respect, in terms of her disposition, her intellectual capacity, her experience and background, serving on three additional court. A woman who is totally, thoroughly qualified. Totally, thoroughly qualified. And will be a great addition to the court, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now we're going to do another one coming in.